In a time in a different era? There was a time when the whole family sat down at the dinner table every night. No smartphones, no microwave meals. Just home-cooked food, the clink of silverware, and conversation that stretched well past dessert. In 1950s America, dinner wasn't just a meal, it was a ritual. From meat-heavy casseroles to towering Jell-O creations, what we ate said a lot about who we were. Today, we're looking at 10 American dinners you'd only see in the 1950s, a time when taste, tradition, and TV trays ruled the table. Meatloaf with a side of ketchup glaze. In the 1950s, meatloaf wasn't just a dish, it was a weekly event. Ground beef, breadcrumbs, eggs, and seasoning were mixed by hand, then baked into a tidy little loaf and slathered with ketchup on top. It was hearty, affordable, and could stretch across several nights. Housewives clipped recipes from magazines like Better Homes and Gardens, each with their own secret ingredient. Today, it's still around, but back then it was practically a national staple, warm, simple, and unmistakably American. Tuna noodle casserole. This creamy classic was the queen of convenience. With just a can of tuna, some egg noodles, a can of cream of mushroom soup, and a topping of crushed potato chips or breadcrumbs, you had a full meal on the table. It was born from wartime rationing and stayed strong in the post-war boom. Easy to make and easier to stretch, it became a go-to for busy mums juggling kids, laundry, and PTA meetings. These days, it's more of a memory than a menu item, but one bite, and you're back in Grandma's kitchen. TV dinners in foil trays. When the television entered American homes, it changed more than just our evenings. It changed how we ate. Swanson's TV dinners, launched in 1953, brought Salisbury steak, mashed potatoes and peas right to your coffee table in a shiny aluminum tray. Suddenly, dinner didn't require pots or pans, just an oven and a few minutes. Families loved the novelty. Kids loved the little compartments. Today's frozen meals are sleek and microwavable, but none carry the charm of those first foil tray feasts. Ham with pineapple rings and cherries. It wasn't truly a celebration without a baked ham dressed in rings of pineapple and maraschino cherries, all pinned with toothpicks like tiny edible ornaments. This sweet and savory showpiece was big at holidays and Sunday suppers, where presentation mattered almost as much as taste. The pineapple gave it a glossy glaze, and the cherries added a pop of color perfect for photos. It felt fancy, even if it came from a can. While you might still spot it at an old-school Easter dinner, it's rare to see it on weeknight plates today. Jell-O salad. Yes, for dinner. If you grew up in the 50s, you probably saw more Jell-O than lettuce. Jell-O salads came in every color of the rainbow, often with strange surprises inside, like shredded carrots, canned fruit, or even tuna. Molded in rings or domes, they were a centerpiece, not a side. These gelatin creations were a mix of fun and function, easy to make, pretty to serve, and endlessly customizable. They're nearly extinct today, but back then, they jiggled proudly on every dinner table.
Chicken à la king.
This creamy, comforting dish started in hotel kitchens, but by the 1950s, it was a home-cooked favorite. Chunks of chicken were mixed with peas, mushrooms, and a rich cream sauce, then poured over toast, biscuits, or even rice. It felt elegant but used ingredients right from the pantry. For a time, it was considered a fancy dinner, something you might serve when company came over. Today, it slipped into obscurity, remembered more by name than by flavor. Spaghetti with canned sauce and hot dogs. Italian food was still a novelty in many American homes during the 1950s. Authentic recipes were hard to come by, so mums improvised. A can of tomato sauce, a dash of oregano, and, believe it or not, sliced hot dogs mixed right into the pot. It was budget-friendly and kid-approved. These spaghetti nights weren't about culinary perfection. They were about full bellies and clean plates. It's a far cry from today's pasta nights, but no less loved back then. Creamed chipped beef on toast, SOS. This salty, savory dish was a holdover from military mess halls, brought home by returning GIs. Thin slices of dried beef were stirred into a white cream sauce and poured generously over toast. It was nicknamed SOS by the troops, but in civilian kitchens it was a dependable dinner. It used cheap, shelf-stable ingredients and filled you up fast. Though rarely seen now, it once symbolized thrift, survival, and the tastes of post-war America. Beef stroganoff, the Betty Crocker way. This Russian-inspired dish made its American debut in the 50s, thanks to cookbooks and Betty Crocker's recipe cards. Thin strips of beef, mushrooms, onions, and sour cream over egg noodles. It felt worldly, even exotic. It became a favorite of dinner parties and potlucks, offering something a little different without being too risky. These days, it's largely faded from family menus, but for a while it brought a little foreign flair to the American table. Frankfurters and baked beans. Simple. Reliable. Classic. Hot dogs or frankfurters, paired with sweet baked beans, were a go-to meal when time and budget were tight. Sometimes they were baked together in a casserole dish. Other nights, just heated up side by side. Either way, it was a warm and familiar dish that filled the kitchen with a sweet, savory smell. It may not have been fancy, but it sure tasted like home. Dinner through the decades. Dinner in the 1950s wasn't about fine dining or food trends. It was about family, comfort, and making the most of what you had. These dishes may not grace our tables anymore, but they live on in our memories, and maybe in a dusty recipe card tucked in a kitchen drawer. Which of these meals do you remember? Did your mum or grandma have a signature dish from the 50s? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join